Hello there, and welcome to another Blender tutorial on navigation. So I had some comments about navigating with a laptop trackpad, no number pad. So this tutorial is for you. Covers everything you need to know when getting started. Not being able to navigate in a 3D space can be very frustrating. It could lead to problems in 3D design, and so being able to navigate Blender is just one of the core things that you need when starting with this program. So one of the first things you want to do when in Blender is hit the Edit button, go to Preferences, and you're going to want to go to the Input tab. Also look at navigation as well, and just make sure that the settings are correct for you. So under Input, you can hit that Emulate 3 button mouse. That is very useful for a laptop. It enables the Alt key to act as that middle mouse button. And if you don't have a numpad, you can also emulate the numpad, which is also very handy. And if you hover over these settings, it gives you a little tooltip on what they actually do. And you're going to want to hit that hamburger in the bottom left, hit Save Preferences, so the preferences are saved now. And now we can start using that new feature in Blender. So really quickly on basic navigation, if you hover over that axis sphere in the top right, and you just hold the mouse button, the left mouse button, and hold it and click, and just move the mouse, you can navigate your 3D space. You can also just hit the different axes and move things around as needed. So for panning, you can just hit that little hand icon on the right, just click and hold and then move your mouse, and you can pan the scene. And if you just hold and hover over these different icons, it'll give you that tooltip and tell you what's going on. So you have the camera view, you have an ISO view, and you also have a zoom in and out feature if you hit that little magnifier glass. So now with that 3-button emulator on, if I hold the Alt key and then I click the left mouse button, I can rotate around my 3D space. And so this is just another way to rotate. I could just use that little, sphere in the top right there, but, with that emulator on, I can hold Alt and rotate around my object. And now we have successfully rotated around our 3D space. I can show this zoom feature. If you just click and hold, move your mouse button, you can zoom in and out on your object. Again, the pan feature is here. And of course we can rotate by either using that sphere or just holding the Alt key. So that's fine and dandy, but now if I hold Control and Alt and I move my mouse, I can zoom in and out in my 3D space. It's also worth mentioning that with my trackpad, if I just use 2 fingers and push in and out, up and down, I can actually zoom in and out on my object as well. So now if you hold Alt and Shift, you can activate the pan feature. So Alt Shift and move the mouse, and you can pan around your object. And this is just an alternate way instead of just clicking on that hand icon. So what is sometimes missed is all the features in this view menu that's up here. There are just way too many features to cover. But I will say that there is a navigation menu and an align view menu. Those are really super important for you to just play with. You can align your camera to a certain view that you're at, which is very handy. Usually I would just hit the 0 on my numpad to do this. But if you have a laptop without a numpad, this is a very useful feature. So now I'm just going to color my cube. So I'm going to hit that texture tab, click on my cube. I see that base color. I'm going to make it a blue cube. I know I'm a little indecisive at times, but blue sounds good. And then with that view menu up top, if you go to something like Viewport, you can select different things like top, and then you can change it to the top viewport. This is something you could also do in the sphere, but again, there's just another way to do it there. And under navigation, you can orbit left, orbit right. There's a ton of navigation options within that menu. Zoom in and out, and fly and walk. Those are also very interesting. So we'll try those out. Let's see. We'll do the walk navigation. And when you click that, you'll see some buttons on the bottom of the screen. You can do your WASD. You can move your mouse to kind of move around, and it's almost like an FPS, right? So you can move your view around and walk around your 3D scene, and that is a really cool way to navigate around your 3D space. And whenever you want to just get out of this, just hit the left mouse button. You'll see that confirm button, and then you can leave this navigation style view. And so one more thing, just for funsies, if you go to View Regions and you hit that Render Region, you can actually select a region in your viewport that you want to render in. So you'll see this little red box. If you want to get rid of it, just go back to that menu and just delete it. But if I hit the render view, and so I'm in cycles right now, we can see that it's only rendering what's in that red dash line box. And this is really handy because if you have a large scene with a ton of stuff, it may bog down your computer to just render everything. So having that render window is really awesome. And so you can see that as I change the lighting changes within that box. So it makes like a little render viewport for you. Very, very handy, especially with large scenes. And so let's clear that render region, and that's how you get rid of it. And I know that's not necessarily navigation, but it's really handy. And there may be times when you downloaded a file from online and that box is there, and you may not know how to get rid of it. Just hit that View tab, and then go to the right selection and get rid of it. So another cool feature under the View tab is that sidebar button. Once you start downloading a lot of add-ons for Blender, you're going to see a lot of those add-ons in this sidebar. And they could be, slightly big and take up a lot of room on your screen. So under that View tab, you can open and close that sidebar. You can also hit the N key. You can see that there's these quick keys that are in that menu, and that's very handy as well. So last but not least, if you hit the Area tab, under View, you can do some really cool things, such as a horizontal split of your screen. And then you just click where you want to split it. And this is really handy if you want to open two editor window types in one window. So now I can open something like the asset browser, for instance, and then have my viewport on top, or vice versa. And this is really handy as well. So hopefully this helps you with navigation in Blender. Any questions or comments, please post them below. Thanks.